Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
Band from Ringside. Tonight, the Band from Ringside podcast, one of the best Raws that we have had in years includes The Rock getting Cody all bloody. Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk have an exchange for the ages over in AEW. Swerve Strickland is your number one contender, and we'll have some New Japan stuff later on, too. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast. Dang it. Fucking unprofessional bullshit.
Hey, look at it this way. If you saw me last week, this took me 3 times.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Marks, and welcome to the Band from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Heater Cottontail. And sitting direct, that's Easter themed. You know what I mean? You know it's Easter this week, Jason? You fucking heathen? You know the Lord is rising?
No, I do know it's Easter this weekend. I'm not saying I'm due for Easter weekend brunch, or whatever the case may be. Neither here nor there.
Directly across from me, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
This is our brutality. The beef is in your sleeve. We'll leave you 6 feet deep. And on that lovely note, I'll ask your congregation to bow their heads as I read from the latest edition of the Band from Ringside podcast, volume 353. Chapter 3, verse 14, and the good smart saith, hashtag boo the heels. It's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. The Holy Trinity of BFR. Good to have my boys back. I'm sick of hearing my own voice. This is coming from last week when I had to work all my shifts, waiting tables, and I had to do the pie by myself. Sick of hearing my voice. I'm so glad you jokers are back.
The hardest working man in podcasting. And out there in Portland, Oregon, we have Two Beer Zach Pullman. What's going on, Two Beer Zach?
Beer for what's in the house.
Oh, man, just been doing a lot of traveling. I was in Bend last week, Victoria, British Columbia this past week, and barely watched any wrestling. It's been weird. So, yeah, good to be back, though.
So, yeah, I was on vacation, too. I was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Zach was somewhere much more exotic than me. He left the country. Zach, how was Vancouver? I hear it's a very clean city.
It was really cool. It's a lot like where I live, but like bigger and more ethnically diverse. Yeah, it's a really cool city. I really can't wait to go back in the summer. We had one beautiful sunny day that really made me pine for like Pacific Northwest summers are so great, and I was like, I need to be up here in the summer at some point because there's mountains and it's just beautiful.
I thought for sure you were going to sneak a healthcare joke in there. So I was down in Gatlinburg, Missouri. I wasn't supposed to be here this week. The wife and I made a decision late yesterday. With a 2.5-year-old in the car, we thought that it would be an easier drive and much less likely to have to split it into 2 days. It's about 9 hours, and with a 2-year-old, it can be like 12, you know. Oof. So we decided to drive through the night when the baby would most likely be sleeping. Aaron took the first 2 hours. I slept, and then I woke up. Aaron fell asleep, and I pull up. So this is what I want to talk to you about. You guys about, because on the way home last night,
I already know what's getting ready to happen. I'm already laughing.
I have not. I'm like Zach. I had not watched any wrestling. I did read the SmackDown recap, so I knew about the Cody and Roman exchange, which is kind of, you know, it was okay, but we can get to that later. But anyway, I was like, I didn't know anything that happened on Raw, and Dynamite had just happened. So I, on my iPhone, hooked up to the Bluetooth. Driving through the Appalachian Mountains back through Kentucky and Illinois, I watched while I was driving, or basically listened to Raw and Dynamite. And I'm telling you what, it was a very enjoyable drive home. It isn't. It's you know, when you watch wrestling, you look at your phone a lot. You know, I'm not always paying that much attention, so you're always hearing it, but really just listening to it as you're driving, I gotta say, Taz is fucking hilarious. But anyway, I got pulled over in Franklin County.
Shocker.
Franklin County, Illinois, for doing 74 and 55 in a construction zone. So I can honestly say the CM Punk Drew McIntyre Seth Rollins segment was so good. I got a ticket from the Illinois Stadies. So that was my drive back through the night. I'm on about, 3 hours sleep or so. So we're going to see how this goes. But like I said in the opening, Raw was really something to talk about. I am curious to hear your guys' thoughts, and also Zach and I. Jason, great job holding down the fort last week as a solo pod.
Hey, the car's in one piece. It's all yours.
I know that I watched every single New Japan Cup match, and I do have some thoughts on the last four guys, and I'm sure Zach does too. So, like I said, a lot to get to, so let's get to that. 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. JCB, kick it off.
Mama Rhodes gonna be mad at the motherfucker here. Let's talk about Raw. We already kind of cracked it open, so let's get into it. Raw was opened and closed by The Rock and Cody Rhodes. The Rock was not announced to be on Raw, so as his appearance was made, it was a complete shock. It kind of reinforces my long-term stance of how The Rock is on my Mount Rushmore. This little run just kind of reinforces what I feel that is my Mount Rushmore, neither here nor there. Rock comes out, huge, just erupts, comes into the ring, and with hands behind the back, he whispers something to Cody Rhodes. Nobody can see it. I actually saw it the second time when they did the replay recapping the first hour, and I read his lips, and he said, "Tonight, you're going to bleed." So I was like, oh, okay, shit. Now this is some shit. So as they interviewed Cody Rhodes backstage later on in the second hour, Cody does not, they get Rock backstage, and Rock says, "You got to ask Cody Rhodes what I said to Cody." Cody is interviewed. Cody is like, his whatever he said to me, I'm not going to say back, but it's not going to happen. So as the close of Raw is the main event, if I'm not mistaken, that was Jey Uso and Nakamura. It was okay, but you kind of knew what was going to happen. I shouldn't say that because there was a swerve earlier in the night where it was like, what the fuck was this? But we'll get to that in a second. As all chaos is happening, Cody is being fought in the back of, I believe, was that Solo? Or was that Jimmy Uso?
It was Jimmy.
Okay, so Jimmy and Cody are fighting in the back, and Rock jumps Cody from behind. Once again, didn't see that one coming. Rock beats the living dog shit out of Cody to finally make him bleed. He presents the Mama Rhodes belt from his waist and wipes Cody's blood on it, sealing the deal for Raw. Just on this segment alone, how it weaved in or throughout the 3 hours, I thought this was a well-done segment, especially in a scenario where, like Cody said earlier, this is that weird 2 weeks before WrestleMania, and typically it feels like in the Vince era, we mail this shit in, and this was a real clear sign, a ringing of the bell, where Triple H is showing that this is not going to be nailed in. Every show is must-see from this point forward.
Zach, what did you think about the opening and the closing of Raw?
Oh, man, what a fantastic segment. I mean, Cody was having fun, kind of a loosey-goosey, Cody promo, not like super scripted or anything, which actually there's a lot of non-scripted-ish kind of promos on the show. A lot of just promos on the show overall, but not to get ahead of ourselves, but I thought it was excellent. The TV shows, when The Rock is on them, they feel like such a big deal. And it's not just because it's The Rock, right? Like, I'm not like standing The Rock and being like, oh, The Rock is so great just because he's The Rock. I'm telling you that, like, The Rock is really good at what he does because he elevates the show like nobody else. And like I said, it's not even because of like a huge Rock fan. I was a fan of The Rock in the Attitude Era, but I was always much more of like an Austin, like Mick Foley guy. Like The Rock was great, but he wasn't like my guy ever. But he is, like Jason said, like total Rushmore. Like when you can pop in and your segments are so much more intriguing than what anybody else is doing. And it's not just because you're like this big star. Like he's just really good at this thing. And it's kind of interesting. I just wonder what it would have been like had he never left. I don't know. But I'm glad you said it, because I'm prone to hyperbole. And sometimes I think that I was like, I just got done watching it. I was like, was that like the best Raw in like maybe ever?
Man.
But I'm really not good at reading lips. I thought whenever The Rock came out, he like leaned into Cody and said, "Since you're married to Brandy, you can have an N-word pass. So you only get one."
Make it count.
Do you accept?
So, to piggyback on what Zach was saying and what Jason was saying about The Rock, I mean, truthfully, it's been 20 years since we've had Rock like this. Like, maybe we just forgot how good it was. Like, I know that we have given Jericho so much credit over the years, and he deserves all that credit. The master of reinvention, manages to stay relevant throughout a 30-year career. Still relevant, you know. The difference with a guy like The Rock is that the highs that The Rock hits, just as a character, almost nobody has ever hit. When he was beating the shit out of Cody in what was generally, you know, you see a lot of beatdowns when you watch pro wrestling. A lot of bullshit beatdowns. It's used as an angle all the time, dozens of times a year. When you watch The Rock do it, it was fucking hilarious. One, it was, he seemed really angry, and he seemed like a movie villain, like a very compelling one. You know, almost like the
rain just so happened
I thought he was going to throw him over that edge. I was like, are they going to do that? Like, didn't they do that to
Austin or whatever? Him and Austin had that rain sequence. I think it might have been in Chicago too, back in the day when they were feuding over the WWE title.
But The Rock, he just, you know, like Zach says, it's not something that you expect to be there, so you're kind of retrofitting it into it just so that you can kind of convince yourself that's as cool as you picture it in your head. It's like you watch it and you're like, no, this is as cool as I thought it would be, or probably even cooler. I know that I have been doing a lot of sucking WWE's dick over the last couple months, but we have to, I mean, credit where it's due. And I sound like a broken record. Monday night was incredible.
Without question.
One of the best Raws that we've ever seen. And we haven't even gotten to what I thought was the best segment on it. Well, I did mention it earlier. But do you think, is it a fair criticism, Jason, to say that Roman, if you tuned into Monday Night Raw and watched Monday Night Raw, you would think that WrestleMania was between The Rock and Cody.
Rhodes,
now, they do have a tag match on night one.
Correct.
And they are trying to sell that match, too.
For sure.
But do you think it's a fair criticism to say that Roman has been relegated to the back seat?
I wouldn't say relegated to the back seat, but The Rock's shadow is very large, and it looms large. And there are very few people in the world of wrestling that can stay out of that shadow. Cena, Austin, and I'm now at that point I'm struggling. Okay, so to me, this is par for the course. Roman's hardly there to begin with. Number one, I don't have a problem with that. I get it. It's to piss everybody off, and he gets to do that shit. More power to him.
I mean, 20 years ago, an answer would have been Hogan.
Okay, but I mean,
but that's some real.
But yeah,
we're talking about A1 alpha.
Yeah, we are talking the tip of the mountaintop here. You know, the creme de la creme type shit. So for me, I don't necessarily think it's a criticism per se. this is storyline related. Rock was kind of there for a reason. Roman ain't there for a reason. Roman's going to do what Roman does, and that's, par for Roman's course. For this scenario, for this Raw, shit, this was perfect. Rock comes in and gets a receipt for the slap.
What do you think, Zach? Same question. Has Roman just not grabbed the brass ring?
No, you're 100% right. It's almost as if it almost seems intentional, but I don't think it is. But the most exciting match that you could make in wrestling right now, as far as hype and star power, is The Rock versus Cody Rhodes in a singles match. That's the best match. That's the match that the most people in the world want to see right now. It's not Cody versus Roman at all. If
this is something that Rock's going to hang around for post-Mania, if we get Rock Roman, this is seeds for Rock Roman. If Roman loses,
it is seeds for everything.
So, it's
seeds for Rock Rollins. It's seeds for Rock Roman. It's seeds for Rock Rhodes. Why does everybody start with an R?
So in this scenario, it's so much. It gives you options if you're Triple H and WWE.
Ronda Rousey, Raya Rack.
And I don't have like I said, for me, I enjoyed this whole fucking segment in 3, 4, 5 different parts. I don't give a shit. It weaved, like I said, it was the one connective tissue throughout the 3 hours, and it kept me like, okay, what's next? Okay,
Plus,
what's
they
next?
gave you an unscheduled Rock appearance. That also counts. Because if they would have said The Rock's going to be there to talk to Cody,
I would have thought something was up.
And the same thing had happened, it would have been different. Instead, they have Cody come out to open the show, and then The Rock comes out. They definitely could have advertised that, and they chose not to. And it worked.
Oh, yeah, because I was like,
Man,
work? What?
It really worked, and it was worth it. Now, I was stuck in a car in between Kentucky and Illinois, but it was worth it to sit through the entire episode.
Man, I was like, oh, shit, this is going to be nuts. It's just been so well done. And like I said last week, 2 weeks ago, and I'll repeat it, I don't know, and at this point, I don't even care how we got to this point where now Rock is an integral part of this bloodline angle, but it needed a little bit of a refresher, just something to kind of spruce this thing up a little bit. And Rock has come in, and it has totally worked. And I'm so invested in this going into WrestleMania. This is going to be an amazing 2 nights.
I mean, without question. Jason, what else happened?
So obviously the other big angle from Raw this week was the return of CM Punk coming back to Chicago, talking to the masses, and then obviously being interrupted by one Drew McIntyre and then Seth Rollins coming out as well to confront CM Punk. I thought this was also a very intriguing segment. Drew, once again, being Drew, doing the Lord's work, just trolling the shit out of CM Punk multiple times. CM Punk just felt like this was one of the few times where I felt like Punk was not up to the task a little bit when it came to the one-on-one verbal assault on Drew McIntyre. I thought he got the better of Seth Rollins, especially when Seth was like, hey, that's your counting arm when the chance of referee were coming out from Chicago, and then Punk got down and did the 1, 2, 3 with his left arm. I just thought for whatever reason Seth kind of, I won't say shrunk, but just Punk got the better of Seth, but Drew got the better of CM Punk, and that felt like that was the revolving story going on through that segment. And then obviously at the end, while Drew is being distracted by talking to CM Punk, Seth hits the stomp onto Drew McIntyre to basically close the segment as he walks by Punk on the way out. Then as the final segment happens, Drew McIntyre attacks Seth Rollins in that little mosh pit that was happening where everybody was, you had Cody and Jimmy fight off.
Go
ahead.
I wish they never would have teased the referee part if he was not going to be the referee. Zach, what you think about this segment?
Yeah, the segment was great. I love that it was very obviously kind of a let the guys go out there and be the guys.
Big time.
Let them be their characters. And what a breath of fresh air that is for WWE, especially whenever you got talented guys that can do it. I mean, Drew McIntyre is a complete professional wrestler. I mean, if you looked at that man, you'd be like, he's probably a professional wrestler. And he's very good at all aspects of it right now. This character he's doing is great. What are you going to say?
I was going to say he kept up with CM Punk. CM Punk did not overpower him on the mic at all. It was toe to toe, just uppercut after uppercut for a while. It was so good.
And it's been that way throughout this like whole feud, basically. There's been multiple times where I feel like Drew McIntyre has outshone CM Punk on the mic, where like Punk, that's the main thing that he's known for. And he was just murdering him in Chicago.
Right.
And also murdering the city of Chicago. Punk's like, why don't you come in here? And he's like, no, just you probably, like the rest of Chicago here, probably have a weapon. And I was like, oh my God.
There were a couple of lines in there that were straight jaw-droppingly fucking awesome.
The rehab line was the one that got me.
The rehab line.
I was like, dude, I'm done.
Drew says you're straight edge, you don't drink, you don't do drugs, but you're in rehab all the time.
I'm like, that's a standard 8 right there.
Punk telling Drew that he never had to put another man's name on a shirt to sell it.
I was like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Him saying, like, he's like, oh, you're the chosen one? Who chose
you? I was like, uh-oh.
He's like, I dare you to say his name.
I was like, this is amazing.
He said, who was the paragon of virtue that chose you? Fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable shit.
I had to pause that shit for a little bit. I was like, oh, my God, this is great.
A
he
plus
even
stuff.
mocked Drew McIntyre has like a hearing impairment, and like he even mocked that. He's like, "Hey, speak it into my
good ear."
I didn't even catch that. I didn't know that Drew had a hearing impairment.
He was talking about, he got his eardrum busted, but his equilibrium, he kept going through, and then fast forward, that was CM Punk trolling his ass for that shit. It was, Seth Rollins, like I said, was the one guy that I felt of the three that could talk well, didn't really get his good jabs in. At the end, okay, fair enough. Yeah, if you want him to be the referee or the commentator or whatever, and you want to see me in my greatest moment, okay, that was his one good shot.
But I'll push back a little bit because when Seth entered, the energy changed a little bit.
Agreed.
And when Seth went up to Punk and says, you're not allowed to make decisions about a match that you're not in, Seth really seemed pissed off.
Yeah.
They came off, and Seth followed suit, but they came off like three guys that do not like each other.
Agreed.
And they went out there and they let them talk like pro wrestlers, like guys that were fighting because they didn't like each other and they have real problems with each other. And this is what you want from CM Punk. I have the same problems with CM Punk that everybody else does. I am just like every normie fucking hipster wrestling fan out there. But goddamn, this segment was unbelievable.
Totally intriguing. I would love to see more of this if and when Punk comes back.
Zach, does Punk factor into the ending of this match?
I don't think so. From a distraction or anything like that, I don't think so.
Does he get physical with anybody?
I don't think so. I think it's purely. I think it's going to be clean. My early prediction is Drew winning because they're building up it's obviously like the Punk Drew feud is like the feud. It's like the big feud that's like building, and Punk was supposed to face Seth obviously at WrestleMania. So Punk being in that world title picture, I feel like that's that's a feud that doesn't need a title, but I feel like it's going to get one. But I don't think there's going to be a distraction. I think the only way there would be is if Seth retains, but I also don't see that. So,
Jason, does CM Punk get physical in this match? Does he take a bump? Does he punch somebody?
God, my knee-jerk reaction, I kind of agree with Zach and to say no, and just my theory on it, this is the Damian Priest spot. And I've been saying it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I'm going to say it again. I think Damian Priest is the guy that has kind of flown underneath the radar, especially this week with Raw and him, Finn Balor beating down basically half of the field in the ladder match. I think this is the Damian Priest cash-in spot. How he cashes in, I'm not sure. But I think Punk, in my scenario, Punk stays out of it somehow. People are going to go by Punk, have words with Punk, but he doesn't get physical. I think Damian Priest cashes in. Successfully or not, I'm still not sure.
Really looking forward to that match. Is that match night one?
No, that's going to be night two.
So both men's title matches are night two.
Yep.
So are both women's title matches night one?
They have not.
Probably not.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would doubt that. One would probably be, if I had to take a guess, Rhea and Bayley would probably be night one.
I think the curtain jerker night one is going to be Jimmy J.
Shit. Do that shit.
That is...
AJ, LA Knight would work too.
Yeah, AJ has been the curtain jerker on a WrestleMania before, at least once, with Shane. That was the match of the night, I believe.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
It was actually way better than I had anticipated, if I remember that correctly.
A couple more things about Punk, because I think that we've sang Drew's praises enough. Another thing that Punk did that was incredible was the look that he had on his face when Seth Rollins' music played, where he was just like, this
God
guy
damn it.
was fucking perfect. And Punk, I don't ever have to hear about you going down on your wife ever again. Just leave it out of there.
Okay, I totally missed that one.
Oh yeah.
He said he has somebody, he's pretty skilled with his mouth or something. He's like, April has something to say about that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Man, you can lose a crowd talking about cunnilingus like that, man.
Yeah.
Watch The Sopranos? Some guys just ain't into it.
No, I totally missed that
this
shit.
This guy is.
The reason why I missed it. Well played. The reason why I missed it is the crowd didn't react to it. And that's why I was just kind of like, what? Okay, never mind. He started talking again. So I'm kind of glad I missed it.
It wasn't a collective wretch. What else happened?
Let's just stick with Raw just because we're talking about it. Ricochet beats JD McDonough. I'm not sure if this is a Ricochet push, but we'll see what happens there. Candice LeRae beats Ivy Nile. Candice LeRae's heel turn continues. New Day and DIY had a tag match until Judgment Day came in and wrecked everybody's asses left to right. Poor R-Truth. This is, goddamn, he's so fucking funny. He's like, I'm on commentary. No, I'm on commentary. They drug his ass in and whooped his ass too. So almost more theory that I think Miz and Truth actually win those titles, but we'll see that as it comes along. Gunther throwing shade to Sami Zayn in a backstage segment, saying he's not even going to come out and watch the match. Andrade versus Giovanni Vinci. Andrade takes the dub. I'm not sure what's happening here, but Andrade's on TV, so you had something there. The one angle match, whatever you want to call it, and I think this is a good place to stop, is that has to me that has been flying underneath the radar has been Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Obviously, Becky Lynch has had her couple of matches coming up to WrestleMania, while Rhea Ripley, as she said on Monday night, has kind of taken it easy going into WrestleMania. I did notice the cast on her arm Sunday night. when we were waiting for the Wrestling at the Grandel show, which reminds me, quick sidebar for 30 seconds.
Oh, fuck. How did we not? Sorry, Joey.
No,
God damn it.
While I'm thinking about it, let me do that now. An amazing time. Whoever came out, thanks for coming out. Joey and Christmas was amazing with their hospitality. Set us up with a nice little booth. Great fucking seats on the lower level. Lower level might be the thing for next year. I don't know. With something to be said, but neither here nor there. Like I said, it was an amazing time. And then those who came out, I'm glad you came out.
I heard Gary J versus Speedball Mike Bailey was a legit 5-star.
The Zack Sabre Jr. Comment where he said that Mike Bailey was one of the hardest kicks in wrestling is legit. I mean, he kicked Gary J a couple of times where I was just like, holy fucking shit. I mean, just Mike Bailey is, I was not a huge fan of Mike Bailey, at least persona-wise. His wrestling is amazing. That translated, and Gary J is just a fucking walking human Terminator at certain points. Just fuck it. You can just do whatever you want to do to me, and I'm going to still keep walking through the shit. It was a really, really good main event. It was a nice cherry on top of the cake of the Wrestling of the Grandel.
Congratulations to friend of the show, Joey O'Farrell, on that. I texted him how it went. He said it went really smooth. He seemed happy with it. Sounds like a great time, and it will be available on YouTube in a couple weeks because I know that I'm going to go check out that Gary J. Speedball Mike Bailey match. Okay, Jason. Who did you see with the cast?
Rhea Ripley had a cast on her left arm that she's had on Raw as well. This is a match I was still kind of looking forward to, but for me, with all the other matches and angles that have been going on, this kind of flew underneath the radar, especially when you didn't have these two women finally cross paths.
When did you see her first wearing the cast?
It was Sunday night, Sunday, because we were at the Grandel, and Dog was sitting to my right, and he was like, we were looking at Rhea Ripley doing the stink face to, I think it was Nia Jax.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then you could see...
the way you were telling that story, you were telling it like she was there.
No.
I was like, what?
No,
on the way up to Chicago?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have led with that?
Yeah, I think we're definitely leading with that. But,
her and Becky Lynch.
Curious to see how the left arm comes into play, if it comes into play at all. And obviously, the more important issue is that finally this felt like a feud that was going to build to WrestleMania and their eventual match. I don't know if they mailed this one in or not. This one, like I said, just feels like it's been underneath the radar. And then finally this week, they're like, okay, fuck it. Let you two touch hands and see what happens. So for me, I'm still looking forward to the match. I don't know who's going to win it, so I'm curious in that sense. But it's just something that when it finally happened, I was like, this seems a little weird that it's just happening now. I don't know.
Zach, what'd you think about Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley's segment?
Another good talking segment. It was wild because there was I only watched the Hulu version of the show, but it was basically just talking segment after talking segment, and I didn't care. Usually I watch wrestling and I want some wrestling. Really didn't give a shit. Every match that was on there was 2-3 minutes, and I was like, okay, that was just enough wrestling to get me to the next 10-minute talking segments that was building up WrestleMania. Maybe it's just that time of year and I'm just intrigued by the stories. Maybe it's because we're full of star power and people that are doing really good at their jobs. Maybe it's all those things. But, touching, bit with Becky getting the empathy for, her dad not being able to see her daughter. And I think that this is a kind of real testament to Rhea Ripley. She won, beat Charlotte, one of the best matches in WrestleMania last year. And, she got her big moment and she's been the star. And now she's facing really the biggest women's star in wrestling. And it's almost, I feel like, Becky's going to re-sign. And she's still a huge star, but I feel like this might almost be a bit of a passing of the torch kind of scenario where okay, it's your time now, because she's probably 10 years younger than Becky. So Yeah, this was good. This was good shit.
Yeah, I thought that Rhea has a hard time getting booed. She was trying to get booed, and the people were still behind her.
Nope.
And she was,
give it a Dom.
You know.
I know I can get booed. Tell him, Dom.
She didn't break into Becky's house and start eating Seth Rollins blueberries or anything, but she did bring up her kid for no fucking reason. So, I thought that Becky getting emotional while she sold it well, it was like, I don't know, it kind of seemed like she overreacted to whatever Rhea Ripley said.
Come on, man. Really?
Well, she didn't say anything about your dad. It's like, why are you bringing them up?
Really? Come on, man.
I mean, once you bring them up, this is what I call the Dax Harwood rule. Like, once you bring them up, now they're fair game. Now Rhea Ripley's got to go after the dad.
She was saying that the daughter can start calling her mommy now.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what pissed her all off.
And then Becky starts talking about her dad. I don't know. It just seemed like a non sequitur.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I'm sure it's. I'm being kind of nitpicky. These are the thoughts I have at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm in Paducah, Kentucky. It's like, what you getting so pissed off about?
Paducah. Well, I've driven through that motherfucker.
I think that's just you being married.
Yeah, it might be. This was a very effective segment, though. This easily could have been the go home segment. Apologies to Eddie Kingston for using insider language, but this easily could have been the go home Raw. I mean, actually, but
sure.
Yeah, this segment was compelling, and it was nice to see them finally in the ring, hashing it out, so to speak. What else?
Jey Uso backstage cutting a promo when all of a sudden Solo and Jimmy reappear. I said that Jimmy and Jay is going to be one of the matches I'm looking forward to. Now that Bill said throughout the suggestion that it could open one of the WrestleMania nights, I think that's an amazing way to open one of the nights. I think that would be a way to get the crowd invested, hyped, ready to go, because everybody's going to be wanting to do the Jey Uso dance or whatever the case may be. Something to think about. That leads into Jey Uso defeating Shinsuke Nakamura, and then afterwards, all hell breaks loose. Cody bleeds, yada, yada, yada. Just a side note on Shinsuke Nakamura for me at this point. I love the build for Shinsuke, but now it seems like he's plateaued to now he's back to putting guys over. Which it is what it is. I mean, for me as a fan of Nakamura, I would like to see more. But like I said, for me, I think he's kind of plateaued now. You could see him losing to, I think it was Sami Zayn a couple weeks ago. Now he loses to Jey Uso, guys that are going to go to WrestleMania, while while Shinsuke Nakamura obviously is going to probably miss out on WrestleMania. It kind of is what it is. For me, it got me mad for 30 seconds. All I thought about was fucking Vince. You got this motherfucker. You got him winning the Royal Rumble. And the next thing you know, him and AJ are, trading low blow kicks in a feud that probably nobody even remembers unless somebody brings it up. So I felt bad for Nakamura for 30 seconds. I thought the match was good. It was just a little short, but ultimately it was short for a reason, because the real main event was after the fact. Any thoughts on Jey Uso, Jimmy, Solo, the match itself? Go ahead, 3-year.
Yeah, I don't even think you really need much more to it. I mean, you can that one doesn't need a whole big angle going into it, right? Just it's already had however many years of history building it up. I think people just want to see that match.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say, I'm one of the people that were kind of like, it's going to happen, but I'm really not feeling it. Like I said, as we gotten closer to WrestleMania, I'm feeling that motherfucker. We can start that shit off. Let's jump over to SmackDown really quick. That opened with Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar with LWO and Legado del Fantasma banned from ringside. We got to start copyrighting that shit, because they saying that shit a lot. Every time I look up, man, somebody is saying so-and-so is banned from ringside. I'm like, man, we are missing out on some checks. Neither here nor there. Santos Escobar gets the win with an assist from Dominic Mysterio, dressed in a lucha mask, pulling down Rey Mysterio's legs to set up the roll-up. Oh, no, it was the Phantom Driver pinfall victory. Didn't see this one coming. I'm not sure if we're going to sneak Dom and Ray Part 2 into WrestleMania or not. If we do, man, I'm down for that shit because Part 1 was really good. Surprisingly better than I anticipated. I thought that this was going to be LWO versus Legado del Fantasma in like an 8-on-8 match, 8-man tag, whatever you want to call it. Now, it almost feels like, are we getting Dom Ray too, you think? 3 Beer? Yes? No?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to catch SmackDown, but I almost feel like just because WrestleMania, they'll try to pack them all in, party match, put them on the pre-show. I don't know.
You can't put Dom and Ray Part 2 on the pre-show, man. I know.
No. I was talking to LWO.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, ain't no way. I ain't going to be at Joey's house or wherever it is or whatever day it is. That's the other thing. We got to figure out, they got to announce this lineup. You know, I know it sounds a little petty, but for my planning purposes, I like to know where I'm going to need to be at what time on what day. Dom and Ray 2 would be a nice little, you know, cherry on top of a WrestleMania card. Both nights will be stacked, I think. I just don't think one would be any much better than the other unless something wonky happens, but knock on wood, something doesn't happen like that. Bayley and Naomi had a backstage segment where Bianca Belair comes in. Still no love for Bayley, not giving a shit because obviously Bianca Belair was the target of her and Damage Control. That subsequently leads into a Naomi versus Io Sky match. Io Sky jumps Bayley backstage and then goes out and defeats Naomi in a match where then they being Damage Control jumps Naomi. Bianca Belair comes out. She gets attacked too. Chance for Bayley coming out doesn't happen because obviously she's down in the back. So once again, are we getting a tag team match with the ladies, or is this where we finally get Jade to come in and balance the scales, so to speak, with baby faces and heel, and we get a 6-woman tag? 3 Beer tag team, 6-woman tag. Where is this going?
I don't know, man. It does seem like it's a little unfortunate for Bianca because she's so much. I feel like she's just so much more above this, but just the cadence of the storytelling, she just didn't fit in, right? So I feel like maybe they bring in Jade just because I feel like Bianca Jade is like that's a match to like set up for like SummerSlam or something, you know. But at the same time, maybe they don't want to beat Jade. It's hard for us to imagine Jade jobbing at all because of her streak in AEW. But yeah, I feel like, let's just put it this way, I feel like they bring Jade in just because a show, like a spectacle like WrestleMania is better with her than without her. She's already proven that she can be put in a situation to succeed. Like, remember, like, she was in a match with, like, Shaq, and it was, like, really good. You know what I mean? Like, they can do something with her and make it look really good.
I totally forgot about that shit.
I'm still thinking. I'm like, I don't remember that.
I think it was Shaq and...
It was her and Shaq versus Cody and Brandy.
Yeah, and, like, Shaq went through the
It's
table.
her first match. Maybe ever.
Yeah, I think Shaq went through the table or some shit. Him and Cody went through the table.
Making that shit up.
Man, good. I wish I would. I'd say, no. I wish I was making that shit up.
Sounds like a fever dream.
Nah, man, that's real shit.
I saw Shaq and Jade Cargill fight Cody Rhodes and his wife. All right, time to go to bed, Grandpa.
You ain't shit. Speaking of Jade officially signs with SmackDown. So Braun and Jade signed with SmackDown. Something to think about and watch down the line. KO and Pretty Deadly have a segment backstage. Pretty Deadly pissed off because they're not a part of WrestleMania. KO decides him and Randy Orton are going to tag against Pretty Deadly next week. I would expect we would see one Logan Paul there. AJ Styles and LA Knight have a domestic abuse. I wouldn't say domestic abuse. Domestic situation, an era segment where LA Knight comes to AJ's house to attack one AJ Styles. Slowly but surely, this is one of those matches I'm starting to look forward to more and more as we go along. Street Profits beat Authors of Pain, one of them kind of matches, but it looks like Street Profits are moving closer and closer to WrestleMania. And then obviously the
You don't
final...
think that the Authors of Pain are going to cost the Street, because the Street Profits
I don't even
have
care.
to fight Austin. Okay.
I don't even care. Move along, goddammit. This is getting horrible, man. What the fuck? I don't care if it's unprofessional shit. This is boring. This is the first time. Honestly, I think this is the first time where I can even remember in this whole angle with Street Profits Lashley and the Final Testament where there has been a pinfall, where somebody has actually beaten another team. Outside of that, it's been like, interference, smudge here, smudge there, whatever the case may be. Look, it is time to move the fuck on.
Do you remember when CM Punk said, my 10-year absence is going to do something that you guys couldn't do for yourself, which is make you interesting?
I was like, oh, shit. This is I say, you getting ready to get popped in the mouth.
Real good shit.
CM Punk was on one. And then obviously the final segment on SmackDown was the Roman Cody face-off where Roman thinks he has Cody boxed in, but Jay and Seth Rollins comes in to even the odds, and that's how SmackDown closes, making Roman finally look a little more vulnerable as we get closer to WrestleMania.
Listen, I'm going to say something here that might seem extreme or might seem like I'm picking on Roman, but this was Roman's chance to really shine. And if it was all scripted, then they didn't do him any favors because they didn't go over any new ground at all. And it just it's a high standard, but it was probably the most forgettable interaction of this story thus far.
I can't disagree with that. I thought it fell a little flat. Roman didn't necessarily feel heelish as I shouldn't say that. It wasn't a good portrayal of his side of the story leading up to their second match against each other. I thought Cody was Cody. Cody was fine. Roman was the down part of this segment, if I have to say anybody takes fault in this.
What do you think, Zach?
I did not get to see SmackDown, but he, I don't know that we will miss Roman much despite this awesome bloodline story and the long title reign. It's almost like he did what it wasn't all him, but it's exactly what you want is to like kind of leave it in a better position than you found it. He'll still be around, but he's a part-timer. He put in the work, and there's 10 guys that can be at the top of the company. None of them are on Cody's level, but there's like 10 guys that can do good work right now. Their main event seems hot.
Roman is this is going to sound really harsh. He's a hood ornament on a really fancy car, man.
Wow. Oh, God. Damn. That's crazy, man. I'm sorry, guys. I have to disagree. This is Roman Reigns has been a part of this boom. I wouldn't even say a part of it, leading the charge. I'll go that far. Okay. Whenever we have talked about WWE just in the last year, Roman Reigns has come out, good, bad, or indifferent. His name leads the charge. He's not a hood ornament. That is damn disrespectful at the least.
Listen,
I'm sorry. He's bigger than that.
Everything that's good about Roman Reigns was given to him naturally. It's his charisma and his look. He can walk down an entrance ramp and look really cool. He is a decent promo, despite the name of our Beefer Award. He's an okay promo. He's better as a heel when he has very little to say. And as a face, he didn't say anything. He is a very basic wrestler. Not not a work rate guy. So I stand by what I just said, which I said to kind of be a dick, but now that I'm kind of talking myself into it. Like everything.
Let me lean into this, bitch.
Everything that is good about him, he was given naturally. If that's an insult, so be it.
So is that, should we downgrade Shaq because God decided he's going to make Shaq 7'4"? No,
I'm not going to downgrade him. No, Shaq is one of the greatest of all time. The most dominant player I've ever seen play was Shaq at his peak. And
Michael Jordan's entered the chat.
Okay, but no, I'm not going to downgrade him. But that's also that's an actual sport though. That's actual competition. That's not the same thing.
Okay, fine. Andre the Giant. All right, you want to keep it in wrestling? Okay, fine. We don't look at Andre the Giant any differently because he was 7'4". He was just that guy.
So what we're saying the same thing. So we're not even disagreeing. We're not. What do you think, Zach? Who do you agree with?
I don't think you're disagreeing.
Right.
I do find it funny when people say like, oh, like Roman Reigns only has the belt for so long because they like gave it to him. It's like, yeah, so did every other wrestler in the history of wrestling ever. Like they all just gave him the belt. You think they ever took it by force? No, they gave it to him every time.
Every single belt is an FTW belt when you think about it.
It really is. Every single one of them.
No. Kayfabe destroyed. God damn you guys. Now I'm going to be going home crying and shit. We don't want to do wrestling next week.
But, that's not to say he's not awesome at what he does or that his natural gifts are not fucking awesome. Like,
it's nice that WWE is more than him now. That's what.
Okay, that I can agree with. But I would say.
Well said.
Still, he is the straw that's stirring the drink. At some point, we're going to take that straw out, put the Cody Rhodes straw in, and let him stir this drink for a little bit. But right now, it's still Roman Reigns.
He's the pineapple on a sword on top.
At least you picked a good garnish, goddamn. I like pineapple, so at that point, fair enough. You want to throw his ass like that, so be it.
He talked about Cody being the politician and stuff, and it was all good. It would have been a fucking fire segment if every other segment that they've had since The Rock has entered the picture has not been fire already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. This was one of the down segments, even though you had the chess moves where here comes the bloodline, here comes Jay and Seth. Okay, I get it. It just ultimately this face-to-face, as hyped as they made it, and as long as the segment was, it was damn near 25, 30 minutes. It just was like, ugh.
Zach, I know you were traveling, so maybe you didn't see this conspiracy theory rumor going around where when The Rock was beating up Cody at Raw, the trucks in the background, like very visible the entire time, the WWE semi-trucks had Cena and Austin on it.
Oh, that was very noticeable.
Yeah. So the theory is that Cena and Austin are going to get involved somehow. I made that joke. I feel like I texted it to you guys, or maybe I put it like on Friends of BFR, where like it's been like the best like WrestleMania moment that I could think of would be like The Rock about to screw Cody Rhodes out of the title and the glass breaks and Stone Cold comes down with a chair. I would lose my fucking mind. Yes, and there are people that are predicting that, so sounds like you're one of them. So it's in the ether now.
It is.
I personally, and I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on this, I think that if Stone Cold gets involved, it's more likely to happen night one. I could actually see the baby faces winning night one. I'm not sure if I'm going to predict it, but I could see night one being a real shit show. Schmaz, fun, like super mega WrestleMania moment. More so than night two. But that might just be me being Cornette. What do you think, Jason? Like, oh, the championship match has got to be pure.
Pure,
you know?
yeah. That ain't gonna be pure. I don't give a fuck what nobody's saying. Let's just get that off the table.
There is no evidence
Zero that
they won't fuck with the end of a WrestleMania.
I was going to say, especially with Roman Reigns involved. I would be lying if I said I wasn't intrigued by the thought of Austin and or Cena getting involved in WrestleMania, especially in this scenario when I've already said I'm just at the point where now I'm just like, fuck it. Just let it happen. You know, if you want to throw Austin in, fine. Cena in, fine. Where if you want to do it, I almost want to say I'd rather see it on night 2. To me, I was thinking about it the other day. Night 1 in my head, if the heels win, it's like The Empire Strikes Back. You don't see the movie end when the heels are on top. Then you have the following night. In this case, we'll just stick to Star Wars related shit. That would be Return of the Jedi, where Luke Skywalker finally defeats Darth Vader, a.k.a. Cody defeats Roman Reigns. All kinds of hell breaks loose. That's where you would see Austin and Cena come in and help beat down the bloodline, because Seth is going to be having his own match. Jay's probably going to have his own match.
Factors. There's so many factors.
They have done so to the point where now we're just like, yeah, this is going to happen. This might happen. This might happen.
Oh, yeah. We're all turned around. We're all fucked up.
We're now, A, I can't wait to see the match itself, and B, I don't know what's going to happen, and that's what's going to make it that much more interesting.
If Cena and or Austin get involved, do you think it's more likely to be night 1 or night 2?
Now that you mention it, night 1 does seem to make some sense. But I do feel like, regardless of, even if the babyfaces were to win night 1, there's going to be interference anyway. Because, like, every Roman Reigns match is, like, ghetto booked it.
Man, it's House of Torture booking, man. It ain't ghetto. I mean, it's just House of Torture, damn it.
I could see, like, I just thought of this. Follow me. The babyfaces win. The bloodline, all pissed off, just completely goes nuclear on Seth and Cody. Just starts beating the fuck out of both of them.
Post-match night 1.
Post-match night 1. Soften them up for night 2. And that's when Cena and Austin come down. And Austin just stuns like 17 Samoans. Like a bunch of NOIs are coming down. Fatus are coming down. Stone Cold's just stunning them left and right.
Well, man, hey, man. John Cena have to be doing something, man. I know that ain't your boy.
Hanare comes down. He's like,
Hanare's here. What the fuck? He's breaking New Japan rules.
Jeff Cobb.
Wait a minute now. God damn it. We ain't just going to have Jeff Cobb randomly breaking New Japan contract to get stunned. Hold up. What the fuck?
They all just snuck in because they all look like bouncers. So they were just able to sneak past security because they were just like one of them.
He's heating up. I don't know if Jeff Cobb is sneaking past anybody. That's a big motherfucker.
Hanare's got a face
tattoo. Right. Have you seen this, man? No, I ain't seen that motherfucker all night.
Either way, if the glass breaks at all,
it's on.
They're going to know exactly when to do it, and it's going to be a mark-out moment for the ages.
At this point, and I don't know if I've ever said this in the 353 episodes up to this point, right now, I trust Triple H. I trust WWE. I'm just going to let it happen, and whatever happens, I'm sure I will like it.
The only thing I'll be pissed off at is if they act like The Rock was in on it the entire time and he turns on
like a double agent or some shit. Yeah,
that'd be terrible.
I do not.
Yeah,
want that.
That's the only thing that I would probably be like, okay, that's some bullshit. Outside of that, I don't care what happens. This has been an amazing ride, and I've got the sneaky suspicion past WrestleMania, the bloodline ain't gonna be done just yet.
Next week, one of the biggest shows of the year. You know, there's the Beefers, there's WrestleMania predictions and WrestleMania
review after
post-mortem. Those are two of the biggest shows. So next week we will have our prediction extravaganza. Very much looking forward to WrestleMania this year.
Nigga, can't
Very
wait.
much looking forward to WrestleMania
Can't
this year.
wait,
It
man.
is going to rip. Let's get to that 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
Two beer. What's the 2 count?
Oh, we don't have much here. Really don't.
Yeah, no shit.
AEW schedule's been pretty wonky. I guess that's NBA. Or no, is it NHL?
No, it's the other one.
It's what?
It's NCAA, college basketball.
Is it NC? Oh yeah, it's March Madness. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew you'd get there.
Yeah.
I had faith in you.
No, you had to bump him along.
So Dynamite was a really good show, though. It had that format that I really like, where the first match and the last match are really good, and then the mid. I don't hate anything in the middle. No. That's like a good show. But there was like,
it seemed like the type of Dynamite that would have a name.
Yeah. Went from big business to still in business.
Yeah. What do they call them? They have like Winter's Coming.
Winter's Coming. Yeah.
Fight for the Fallen.
Yeah.
So
it's a pay-per-view, but not a pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah. That's how it seemed. It was a great episode.
Yeah, really good episode. And they were in Canada, just like me, although I was like way far away from there. But I didn't realize that. Opened with Ospreay versus Shibata.
Oof.
These guys had wrestled before, as they showed some clips of that, like a young Will Ospreay being pinned after Shibata punt kicks him. And, I was like, man, this match sounds pretty awesome on paper because they're both awesome, but it's kind of a styles clash. Ospreay's so versatile, though, that it really didn't matter. It still ended up being fantastic. He can really do a lot of fun mat stuff, but it is a testament to the quality of the main event that this was not the best match on this show, because this is a really good match. And, of course, Ospreay goes over, Shibata, it's awesome having him around, but Ospreay's on this, monumental, just meteoric rise. He's a real deal star, and everybody sees him that way. The crowd sees him that way. It's really cool to see. But great way to open the show.
One small nitpick about this match: I don't think Shibata should have kicked out of the Oscutter. I know that I said a couple weeks ago that Ospreay, rather than feature him like some squash matches to get people used to his moveset and so forth, I didn't think that was the move, because the main thing that Ospreay does is deliver just fucking bangers. But if you're going to present him as the face of the company, dominant, cool wrestler that he is, he can't have Kyle Fletcher and Shibata both kicking out of the Oscutter in his first 2 matches on television. That's very nitpicky.
I think Shibata kicked out at 1 even.
Yes, Shibata kicked out at 1. What the fuck was that, him kicking out at 1? It seemed weird. I think that I was passing a rest area when that happened. I remember glancing down and be like, what the fuck?
Glancing down. Better than me, dog. I'd have just waited. Fuck all that.
But, no, that's how much dedication I have as a journalist.
Professional bullshit right there.
It's my job.
Yes. You better come prepared.
But that's nitpicky. Jason.
I get your guys' point. I don't nearly look at it at that, but AEW is the land of, yes, we're going to do a crashing, ridiculous spot, and it might be your finisher, and it might get kicked out of. That just kind of is what it is. It's kind of New Japan in that sense, so I really don't, look at it that unfavorably. That's just me. To me, I guess the moral of the story here was Will Ospreay can kind of do it all. This was more of the lines of, I'm not that little junior heavyweight that you were fucking around with, 7-8 years ago. I've grown up. I'm a man. He kind of said it in the promo the week before, and he did it physically in the ring. So in that scenario, I thought this was a really good opener. I'm just, TikTok waiting for him and Danielson to get here and tear the house down on Sunday a couple weeks from now, or more than a couple weeks from now.
Oh yeah.
After this, we had another very funny segment with Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. They were back with Renee Paquette, saying how they wished Alex Marvez was doing the interview because he's better looking, telling Renee to smile more.
Man, that was the one. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Like, she gets like 7 words into her first question, which is that they're going to face Private Party, and Private Party had beat them once before. And Nick just interrupts and says, what is this, some kind of ambush?
That was really good.
That's what I was in my head. I was thinking the unprofessional bullshit line. I was about to say, Nick just snaps, man. He is just not having it.
They're such dicks that, like, and Renee's so good at this too, but they're such dicks that I felt like, oh man, how fun would it be to be such a dick like that? But then, like, once the camera was off, I'd be like, I'd have to go back and think, hey, like, that was pretty fun, wasn't it? Like, sorry, like, just like apologizing, like, was that okay for you?
That's what Drew McIntyre was doing Punk the other night.
You okay, man? I didn't come on too
I was
harsh.
just messing around.
I say, don't go around punching motherfucker now.
But then it showed Kazuchika Okada pulling up in another exotic sports car. I love the gimmick of him just driving Tony's cars around, or like they just rent a car for him. Like, there's something old school about it where like he just pulls up in a, $500,000 car and he makes him feel like a star. It's very elemental, very ABC, but like for people that don't know who he is, like, oh, that's a really fucking nice car. Like, this guy's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
But I think it's so funny. I love that they just like do that, and then like they show him like kind of quote unquote watching from backstage. Like, he's clearly not there at all.
At all. Not even close.
I'm like, the show's better with them, but like if they just turned it into like a meme of them like maybe like reacting like back and forth, it would be so good.
Okada in the back just nodding his head.
Yeah. And they like react to it like they know what he's gonna say. Like,
yeah, it was clearly edited. I was just like, oh, this is kind of bad. But I shouldn't say that. I agree with the car part. It makes Okada feel special, look special. That part I totally agree with. Still think he should have all 3 towels roll with him, but that's neither here nor there. But when you see him backstage, when he's kind of nodding his head of approval during the match, after the match, clearly edited. I was like, oh, this is bad. God bless you. I get what you're trying to do, but damn, no. You got to do something better than this. This is the same company that did Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm in color and black and white on the same screen. You should be able to do better than that. That's my nitpick.
It almost felt like it was intentional, but
no, that should not be intentional. 3-Beard, no.
Jason wants some CGI up in this shit.
Man, come on, dude. I'm sorry. That when they did Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo, we all agreed that was very well done. It was a nice build to the eventual match.
Yeah,
you can't tell me you can't do something better than that.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. I didn't.
So, okay, you didn't see it shit because your ass is driving, dumbass. I appreciate you being back, but damn, you missing the context of my rant. God damn it.
That's my bad. My bad.
Go ahead, 3-Beard.
The match itself was fine. It was not like super sensational or anything. Very different from like the first time they wrestled. But it was, there were stakes. It was a tag title tournament. Young Bucks go over. One of them, I think it was Quinn, he missed a 630, hit the mat, and then they did the EVP trigger. But Nick like slipped.
Did they?
Yeah, Nick like slipped. It was you don't usually see him miss like on anything. But I don't know, unless there's some Vaseline on the mat or something.
No shit.
Alex Marvez must have been doing an interview.
Baby oil.
You ain't shit.
But anyway, they went over, so they're moving. They're advancing in the tournament, which is not surprising. And Renee Paquette backstage again with Hook and Jericho. I don't really care about this like at all. Like I'm over it. Jason talked about it last week. Chris Jericho, how can we miss you if you won't go away? Just go away for a little bit.
Jericho really seems like he's phoning this one in. He does not look like he's trying at all. He has a switch is flipped in him or something. Maybe I'm just reading into it too much, but he does not seem into this, and this seems pretty.
It's probably because he's getting booed.
This is pretty fucking weird, though.
The backstage segment did not look. He didn't look enthusiastic about this. I'm not saying he needs to be, cheery about it, but it was just kind of like, just kind of,
he really was,
monotone about,
That's exactly what he was like.
Yeah, like, let's roll the tape and let's get this shit over with. Okay, if that's the case, then you need to go away for a little bit or something, or you need to flip heel. And even if he flipped heel on Hook, I don't care if he flips heel on Hook. That does not make this any more interesting than what it was beforehand. Chris Jericho, I'm sorry, he has plateaued in AEW, and that's not a bad thing. His run in AEW has set up a lot of the things we see right now. So
you want him to go back?
I mean, it ain't going to kill him. I mean, what the fuck? He can go. CM Punk's back there. Shit. Start that rivalry up. It's a good time for at least Jericho to at least go away. I know he's getting paid a shit ton of money, and you want your ROI. I get it. Nobody cares what Chris Jericho is doing right now.
Don't be stepping on Zach's finance guy corner here and talking about ROI.
Sorry, 3 but you get my point.
That is funny that you mentioned that it seemed like he was unenthusiastic. Now that you mentioned it, reminds me of like Paul Rudd's character in Wet Hot American Summer when Sidney Garofalo makes him pick up the lunchroom.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite clips. We had a women's match. It was number one contender match, actually, for the TBS Championship. Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale versus Sky Blue versus Ina Jay. Mercedes Moné was on commentary, and I gotta say, whenever Vince was in charge of WWE, I would get after him all the time about highlighting weaknesses, right? He would seemingly put very talented people in positions to make them seem less like a star, or, set them up to fail. And I feel like Mercedes Moné is in that category right now with Tony. Like, commentary is not her thing, and it was very obvious. I really hope they don't do it again. They were like, you could tell like the Taz and then they were pulling teeth trying to get her to say anything, which is fine. Like, you don't have to be good at everything. I'm not saying she sucks or anything. She's not a star because she's not good at commentary. Commentary is super hard. It's not for everybody. We're not all John Moxley. But, they're like, Taz like, hey, you've been in the ring with Willow. Like, tell us something about, like how Willow fights. And Mercedes is like, yeah, she beat me for that title, man.
Broke my ankle.
Yeah.
Jason made
the match was fine, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jason made a face when you said that about Mercedes Moné. I want to hear Jason's thoughts because I have thoughts on this also.
I kind of agree with what the 3 Beer is saying. I just don't think that, and to me, this is just the way my my perspective on Mercedes is right now, and this is only a couple weeks in, and that's kind of the main reason why I made the face. I'm like, damn, it's only 2 weeks in. I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't get it because I think that's the knee-jerk reaction. At least my knee-jerk reaction is with Mercedes Moné is, why is she even around the TBS title to begin with? If we are making her the star that we all think she is, and Tony has presented her to be so far, this is kind of beneath her, unless it's Willow Nightingale and the AEW World Championship. There's no reason for her to even be around this nonsense. I mean, Sky Blue, Mercedes, I mean, come on. If we're going to do a feud with Willow and Mercedes, it could just be set up a little better. This just feels beneath Mercedes, commentary or not.
Yeah, and if, I don't know, if the women's division is a high-end cocktail, the TBS title picture right now is like the bottom of an old-fashioned glass. It's fucking muddled. I don't know what's going on down there.
Yeah,
I'm really high. This
Well
is a very
played.
interesting analogy.
Well played.
I mean, this isn't, all my takes can't be hot. I just agree with both of you. I think that you both make solid points. Playing to her weaknesses is an interesting way to put it. It's basically what I was thinking, but I wasn't thinking about it in those terms. It's like, why didn't she just come in and immediately get in Toni Storm's face? Like, what why is she down there with Sky Blue and Julia Hart? I mean, listen, Sky Blue and Julia Hart and Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, these are all very talented wrestlers. But they are not at the main event level in AEW. They are not presented to be the main event. They get a lot of TV time, but Toni Storm is in Tony Land over there, and it's just completely her own thing, and she just seems like such a bigger deal than everybody else. She's presented that way. That's how she should be presented. Sasha Banks is a bigger star than Toni Storm. Sasha Banks should be right there with her. And you're right, man. She just commentary's not her thing. Really long babyface promos aren't her thing either. And thus far, that's all she's done. Fucking Ospreay's had 2 bangers on television and a Takeshita match, and Okada already has a title. It's like, get Sasha Banks in the fucking ring.
I can't disagree. I can't agree with you more. To me, this just feels like okay. Now she's here. Now what? Now what do we do with her? And that's. I think you should have had
either
some
that or
sort of
flip
plan.
her heel immediately. If you're gonna have her down there with Willow Nightingale, it doesn't make
just flip her. Let's just be done with it.
Right, because Willow Nightingale's not going to be a heel.
I can't.
And Sasha Banks is better as a heel.
Yeah, it just makes a little too much sense. Let's just. If we're getting it to Dynasty and then this is where you see it, okay, fine. But it just feels like there's not a plan for Mercedes
Deonna
Moné.
Purrazzo, Toni Storm 2 at Dynasty?
I don't think they've said anything on the women's side yet. I'm assuming we would get.
Are we getting a Mercedes Moné match?
I would assume.
Doesn't look like it.
I would assume that Willow and
shit, that is weak.
I would assume Willow and Julia Hart would be here for Dynasty. I'm hoping Okada, Pac would be here for Dynasty. From there, I think pretty much we kind of know what's going on.
Oh, Okada.
Either that or they put.
That is a fucking loaded show already, man.
Oh yeah, you throw that motherfucker in there. Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm so excited.
You know how Tony books.
Think,
Give him 1 week, man. We'll have Okada, Pac in St. Louis before you know
That's why I think we'll get Mercedes Moné, Willow Nightingale there. I bet we get Julia Hart, Willow Nightingale next week.
That's what I was just going to say. I think that it'll just be a TV match, and then Willow win the title. Julia's had a nice little run with it, and she's still super young, so young. And Mercedes will get her win back for a title over Willow, just like she lost that New Japan title. Although the dynamic is weird. Babyface versus babyface. You guys are right. So, but I think that's what's going to happen.
But I don't know if it's just because we're going to it, but this seems like it's shaping up to be a pretty major fucking pay-per-view.
It really does.
Yeah.
And so if they're going to have that many eyes on it, they have to have a Mercedes Moné match.
I think we're as crazy as it may seem. I think a part of this is that we're not thinking this is a month away, and we're so into WrestleMania.
3 weeks.
Okay, 3 weeks. WrestleMania will be here before, obviously, Dynasty will come into town. So there's still plenty of time to make up matches and kind of build up, angles to get to this point. Tony can make a match in a week. We all know that, but I think there's still time to have a story being told if you're going to have Mercedes versus Willow at Dynasty here, if you wanted to go that route.
All right. We had Renee Paquette backstage with Dustin Rhodes, who is still at 55 years old, wrestling on national TV. Good for him. He's going to be wrestling the Butcher on Rampage.
Time to strap the jetpack to him.
I think we missed that boat a while ago.
I just thought of it. I'm gonna hold up a sign. Are we gonna be on the hard camera or anything?
No, we're straight across from the ramp. Like, we're facing the ramp.
Facing the ramp. Okay, so somebody's got to get thrown off the ledge or some shit.
What's funnier, a sign that says "Push Dustin Rhodes" or a sign that says "Push Gold Dust"? I think "Push Dustin Rhodes" is funnier.
Yeah, I was going to say Gold Dust might get
I'm going to bring
trouble.
a sign that says "Push Dustin Rhodes."
And he is really good, and putting him on TV is a smart idea because he's so recognizable. He doesn't look like Gold Dust, but if you see him, you're like, oh shit, that's Gold Dust. Like, for the people that tuned in during the Attitude Era, I think he definitely enhances the product. He's not just an old guy around, but that'd be a funny sign.
If you bring a sign, if you are one of our dozens of listeners, and you bring a sign to AEW Dynamite, a band from Ringside sign, and you get shown on television, you win. You get to guest spot on Band from Ringside for a whole week.
Damn, I get to take the week off?
Yep.
Sweet.
You got Jason's spot. But you have to do his intro the exact same way that Jason would do it.
Somebody's like, fuck. God damn it. No, I got to be here.
You're giving me work?
Yeah, right. I got to be here. I'll at least bring the laptop, and then I'll sit back and watch it unfold. See, I like where your head's at, though. I like where your head's at.
Yeah, let's get on TV. Get that Band from Ringside sign on TV and join us for an episode of Band from Ringside.
We'll call you.
Let us know how wrong we are about everything.
We'll call you. You ain't even got to come out to St. Charles, damn it.
Another tag title tournament match. Undisputed Kingdom, TUK, against the BFFs. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. A lot of distraction, fuckery. I mean, kind of to be expected. But it's just fine. Like, all these guys are really good wrestlers, and the mechanics of the match and everything were totally fine. But little surprisingly, maybe that the ROH Tag Champions lost so early in this thing.
You think? To the team that just got...
Even though it is, Orange Cassidy's in there. So, but still, pretty surprising.
I don't see how this does Taven and Bennett any favors. They're the tag champs, for Christ's sake. I mean, damn, granted it's ROH. Very few people, outside of my wrestling Lord and Savior High Five Tom watch this shit on a regular basis. You can't book like this. That when Kyle Fletcher lost to Will Ospreay, granted it's Will Ospreay, but Kyle Fletcher losing on TV as the TV champion is just like, that doesn't make sense. The ROH tag champs can't get out of the first round? And they lose to Trent and Orange Cassidy?
Those belts mean so little that I didn't even think of that.
That's the first thing I thought.
It didn't even cross my mind.
When him and
Cassidy and Brett are going to win this.
When Undisputed Kingdom came out, and they came out with all titles, that's the first thing I'm seeing.
Or I thought Beretta was going to turn. I'm still waiting for that Beretta.
You and me both, motherfucker. That's what I say. Kyle Fletcher ain't turning to the dark side. Fine. Trent Beretta is. This just doesn't. It's not a good look for the Undisputed Kingdom. It's not a really good look for ROH. Why should I even? If you can't even push your ROH tag champions over, a team that is a team, quote unquote, but it's not Trent Beretta and Chucky T. It's Trent and fucking Orange Cassidy. I get it. Orange Cassidy, this bad motherfucker in the AEW world. I get it.
Then
this just goes against general principles when the tag teams, for me, tag teams should defeat half-ass makeshift tag teams. Yes.
strongest and longest held principles.
Fuck yeah, that doesn't make sense to me, dude.
He has been singing this song as long as I've known him.
It doesn't make sense.
We're going on 20 years he's been talking about this. It pisses him off to no end.
Sorry, not sorry.
Kyle O'Reilly backstage. He's gonna wrestle on Collision, so good to have Kyle O'Reilly back. Again, not a guy who's like a great promo guy, but they didn't put him out there for very long. Just saying, like, hey, I'm gonna do some shit. But then we had the main event, which was the main event, and it was won by a guy who is the main event. That is Swerve Strickland beats Konosuke Takeshita in a fantastic match. Much more of a sensational match than the opening match, which was also good. The crowd was very hot for this, partly, I think, because of the style just really lends itself well to live wrestling. This is awesome chants, all kinds of big moves, fun shit. Both of these guys are goddamn phenomenal. And they're both main event top guys. It's just that it's Swerve's time right now, and it will be Takeshita's time, but it ain't right now because it is Swerve's house right now, and he's going on to face Samoa Joe at Dynasty, where I predict we will watch him beat Samoa Joe live in person in St. Louis, Missouri.
I think the exact same thing. I think that Swerve wins. This is it. We are seeing the crowning of Swerve, seeing a historic moment, and I, for one, am here for it. You think we're going to see Joe win?
I'm not.
Not making your prediction yet, Zach.
No,
are you gonna...
I'm not going that far. I'll just say this: if Joe, if Joe does lose, this kind of breaks the booking habit of Tony, as at least when it comes to the AEW championship. We all kind of agreed that the guy that has the title holds it for a little bit. I don't even think Joe's held it definitely not 6 months, 3.
There is money.
This will be the end of the 4th month.
Okay.
There is money in Swerve. I'm holding it now.
Not disagreeing with that.
He does not need to be in chase mode any longer. They're going to lose it.
I still need to see Tony pull the trigger. Plus that the way he books, it's Samoa Joe. Joe wouldn't be hurt by a loss to Swerve by any stretch of the imagination.
Not at all.
So I mean, it's not like that. I have to see it first. So for me, I'm skeptical. If it happens, it wouldn't be a total surprise, but I still need to see it first.
Zach, there's no way you're going to be in town to do the podcast that week, are you?
No, I'm coming in Saturday and leaving Tuesday.
Yeah, I was going to say, even if you were here Friday, we could maybe do it Friday. But, okay. All right. That's exciting, though. That is coming up quick. I'm pumped. I mean, I forgot about Okada Pac.
No, I think that
is a huge match.
No, I think that's another match that you can sneak in. I don't even think you can use the word sneak in.
Eddie Kingston doesn't get a rematch?
It didn't seem like. I mean, this is the way
he's got 2 other belts. He's fine.
Number one, and number two, the way that segment ended, where Eddie was basically shipped out, like you getting pulled off the Apollo stage, and then all of a sudden, Pac came in real quick. I mean, to me, that's just wrestling booking 101.
I mean, Eddie's gonna have a match, right?
I don't think on Dynasty, no. I think I agree with 3Beer on this one. That he's got 2 belts. If this is the way you want to do it now, so be it.
Let me amend that contest. It has to say you have to get banned from ringside, a banned from ringside themed sign on TV, or a sign that says Eddie Kingston, come find Bill.
Holy shit.
I'll even tell you my seat number.
No shit. That's what I say. As Bill's pointing to me, that's Bill right there.
I'm just excited that I'm probably going to be so full of sodium from so many Lion's Choice sandwiches that I won't have to piss for the whole show.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Actually, can I say one thing real quick?
Sure.
I want to just jump back to Top Flight and the Young Bucks for 30 seconds. I want to give flowers to Top Flight. Not Top Flight, but Private Party. I forgot how good these guys were. I really did. And it's one of the few times that, and that is a Freudian slip as it may be, Top Flight is back together because both are healthy. Private Party's back together. They're both
can't
healthy.
believe you got Private Party and Top Flight mixed up. Now,
Yeah.
what do those guys have in common?
At least I'm black and fucking it up. No, the Private Party I thought looked really good. They and the Bucks obviously have chemistry. I wouldn't mind seeing them doing it one more time at the Bucks, win the titles out of this, and you have some sort of rematch between those two teams. But I definitely wanted to say that I thought that tag team match was really good, and it hopefully, knock on wood, it's a start to getting the tag team division back on track.
All right.
That'll do it for our 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
Can we travel back a little bit and talk about the state of New Japan? So we didn't get to talk about it. Yota Tsuji ends up winning the New Japan Cup tournament, and he defeats Hiroki Goto in the final. Zach, did you get a chance to watch this?
No, I'm kicking myself, but thankfully they have that lovely archive, so I can watch it.
Jason, what did you think about, and I know you've already shared your thoughts, but I want to react to them. What do you think about Yota Tsuji winning, and what do you think about Hiroki Goto being in the finals?
Well, this was kind of not a slip on the banana peel, but David Finlay getting hurt kind of opened the door for Goto to become the ultimate finalist. Goto wins or advances because he was supposed to face David Finlay, ultimately goes into the final. If you stop and think about it, it kind of makes sense. Goto's won the New Japan Cup 3 times, if I'm not mistaken, coming into this. He feels like he's Mr. New Japan Cup. So in this scenario, it was a nice way to have someone across from Yota Tsuji to face. Ultimately, this is really all about Yota Tsuji and Naito in a couple of weeks. Both LIJ guys. Yota Tsuji is one of those guys that, needs to be pushed, in my opinion. Him, Ren Narita, Shota Umino, and Yuya Uemura. Damn, can't talk so high.
Man, I gotta get that as a drop.
No shit. Those 4 guys.
Scooby-Doo.
Those 4 guys should be the young guys being pushed when Okada and Will Ospreay have now departed from New Japan. So ultimately, this does make sense. I'm not a huge surprise about it, but it was just weird how we got to this point. Getting past the quarterfinals was like the grind, and I'm not used to having New Japan being such a slog to get to a certain point. The semifinal matches I thought was good. The final match between Tsuji and Goto I thought was good. It was, like I said, it was a good way to put Yota Tsuji over. Ultimately, no problem with this. You need to start building these young talents up, and it ultimately starts with Yota Tsuji. So, like I said, for me, no problem with it. LIJ versus LIJ on April 6th, if I'm not mistaken. So that should be interesting. Hopefully, Tsuji loses so that I don't lose out on Naito versus Moxley for the title down the line.
So Tsuji is facing Naito at Sakura Genesis?
Yes.
Is that happening before or after Windy City Riot?
Before.
Yeah, it's interesting because
Zach, is there any chance
the wrinkle.
Go ahead, Zach.
I just like the wrinkle because Naito Moxley is a draw even without the title.
Agreed.
So, I know that it's pretty early in Naito's run, but I feel like what New Japan needs is some kind of something new. It's New Japan after all. Doesn't feel very new lately. So get one of these young guys. I feel like even Moxley winning it would be something, but I feel like they just put a bunch of belts on a bunch of gaijin. I don't think that's the play. I think Yota Tsuji winning would be pretty remarkable, really.
Did they announce that the Naito Moxley match is for the belt? They have not, right?
No, they don't do that.
They're waiting to see what happens first, but ultimately, if it does play itself out,
Zach, is there any chance that Yota Tsuji beats Naito?
Is there any way? I think I'd say it's a possibility for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a possibility too. You agree, Jason?
Yep. Totally can see it.
I would be a big time fan of that.
I would be definitely torn.
Some other goings on in the New Japan Cup that I just have to get your thoughts about is the prevalence of House of Torture. They were all over this motherfucker. They really leaned into it. They took out Shingo. They took out Zack Sabre Jr. What you think about House of Torture being all over this bitch?
Yeah, for sure. Jack Perry is the one that I was just like, I get it. It's to elicit a reaction and, mission accomplished. It was hard to see. And that's why I was saying that this felt like a slog at certain points where there's matches.
Sabre Jr. lost.
But I would say this.
I was mad.
For me, I was, okay, pleasantly relieved because you wouldn't have a Zack Sabre Jr. Naito match right away because I still think Naito would beat Zack Sabre Jr. Ultimately, I think ZSJ
and
wins.
Also, you're such a big House of Torture guy.
Oh, yeah, I love them motherfuckers. Ren Narita versus ZSJ, I thought was a good match up until the fuckery portion of the program. When you had Yota Tsuji versus Evil and that shit started off as a no contest, I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here. See, this is the shit I'm fucking talking about. You can't even just have a fucking semifinal match without some bullshit starting beforehand, and then you got to restart the match. This is just that same as just paint by numbers, fuckery bullshit. Somebody comes out, here's the distraction, blah, blah, blah.
Were you surprised when Goto went over Sonata?
A little. Just because Sonata...
Man, Goto was a much better opponent for Yota Tsuji in the final. That was a fun match.
I'm not disagreeing with that. And a part of that,
Yota Tsuji.
He's the wonderkin of the New Japan right now.
Got it.
I was a little surprised Goto winning because Sonata was the last current champion. And Goto's never got...
Yota Tsuji did have a title match against him.
That's why I was kind of thinking they were going to run it back and then, have Yota Tsuji go over. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Three Beers said it a while ago. The Sonata experiment, they tried it. It didn't work. Jack Perry versus Sonata, was fine.
They tried it, and they kept trying it, and then they tried it some more.
Okay, so ultimately, it's not a big surprise.
Now
it was just kind of like,
Goto's old ass.
That's why I was just like, oh, okay, shit. Damn. You kind of slid back a little bit, but I mean,
if Yota Tsuji does not beat Naito, let's say Naito goes over Tsuji,
he better, goddamn. No, that's just bullshit.
Is there a chance that Moxley takes it off him?
Oh yeah. I was about to say this is
who is more likely to be champion after Windy City Riot? Give me percentages. Yota Tsuji, Naito, or Moxley?
I would say Moxley is the least likely, just for like what Three Beer was saying.
Oh, I think Moxley's the most likely.
I don't think so. I don't think New Japan wants to continuously give their, and I hate to say give their titles away, but give their titles to non-contracted.
All the titles are given away. We covered this earlier.
Yeah, right. I don't think they want to give it to non-contracted New Japan stars. And their biggest title, I definitely think they want to keep that in-house. I would say 25% for Moxley. And then just with that, like, 26.
All their title holders are going to be Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, and Matt Riddle.
Okay, that's kind of my point. I don't think they're going down that road. 25% for Moxley.
It's going to look like 2006 TNA.
25.5 for Yota Tsuji. I think Naito eventually comes back home with the IWGP title. He'll beat I'm very curious to see how that Yota Tsuji match is going to look. Naito has not looked good, particularly good in his last couple title matches, and Yota Tsuji is one of the more athletic guys on this New Japan roster. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to look. I expect Naito to get booked to win that, and then him beating Moxley in Chicago, I guess, the week after.
What is coming up next? Is it Sakura Genesis? When is it? When is Windy City Riot? It's in April. Wait,
it's the 12th of April, so that's a Friday night. So obviously I'll be doing the pod and then leaving that next day to drive up to Chicago.
So it's WrestleMania, Windy City Riot, and then Dynasty 3 weeks in a row?
I think Dynasty is that next week.
When is Sakura Genesis?
The 6th, the 5th or the 6th. It's the week of WrestleMania.
So
it's
next week.
Thursday. It's that Thursday.
So it's next Thursday.
Sakura Genesis. Then we have SmackDown that Friday night. WrestleMania, Stand and Deliver.
So will Sakura Genesis have happened by next podcast?
Yes. It will be in the morning.
Holy shit. That's a big show next week.
Yeah, it's a it's a great time of the year, man. It's just gonna be loaded.
Any other New Japan thoughts?
The 29th, I believe that's tomorrow morning. I believe that's Matt Riddle versus Koji Fujita, I believe, for the World TV Championship. There's a couple other matches, I believe, coming up tomorrow. So this is the precursor to Sakura Genesis. I just can't remember the matches off the top of my head, and I didn't write them down. But I believe it's 4 title matches this morning, and then it'll lead into the Sakura Genesis card with Naito and Yota Tsuji as the final. So curious to see what's going to happen in the next couple weeks. New Japan's in that nice little interesting transition where, like I said, it's a good time to try to push some of these young guys. That's why I wasn't too mad about Ren Narita beating Zack Sabre Jr. because I think that's planting seeds for something down the line. Same way with Yota Tsuji winning the cup. I think that's going to be, big things for Yota Tsuji down the line. Shota Umino is the guy I would say I'm quote-unquote worried about right now.
All right. Any other thoughts about New Japan, Zach?
Nope. Not at all.
I was just trying to buy time while I flipped back to the right page. That's going to do it for our 3 count.
Zach is like, nope.
Did not save me
at all
in the least. Some odds and ends this week. It looks like we're going to get at what's the NXT pay-per-view?
Stand and Deliver.
Stand and Deliver. So we're getting Tony D'Angelo versus Ilya Dragunov. We're going to get a triple threat match between Dijak, Josh Briggs, and Obafemi. Now, those are 3 pretty big dudes.
Meat.
Yeah,
Meat.
but that's...
Meat.
Josh Briggs has been impressive so far in his singles run. So Briggs and Dijak, they're kind of letting Dijak's personality come out a little bit more. He's kind of funny. And somebody called him Shaft last week, and he's like, "I'm white." He's like Shaft was black, and his delivery of it was really funny.
Yeah, it's on point.
We're also getting Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes. Those are 3 matches that I am very much looking forward to. What did you watch any of this, Jason?
Oh yeah, for sure. I like the way Rock and Cody was the connective tissue throughout Raw. I thought Trick and Mello, their vignettes was the connective tissue through NXT. Truth be told, I missed a lot of the rise of Trick Mello. So for me, seeing those,
I was your humble NXT correspondent in those days.
So seeing these, memories, fade back and, watching them for the first time, I'm just kind of like, now I'm starting to feel like it's kind of a big deal, the gravity of the moment. The only thing I can say about the three different segments, when Ciampa's coming out and saying this might be the biggest moment in NXT history, I almost fell off my chair. I'm like, dude, you got to be fucking kidding me. There's no way that Trick and Melo are going to even come close to Ciampa and Gargano, but that's another story for another time. It made me more invested into the match itself, the angle itself. It's one of those matches that for the WrestleMania weekend, I'm looking forward to seeing the shit.
Zach, what's your temperature on this?
Oh yeah, the Trick Mello, that's the one, man. That's the match that's the main event. That's what everybody's watching for. They are not watching for the Tony D'Angelo title match. Not that I'm talking shit on him.
No, that's what I do.
No, I'm not actually. 3-Beer, finish your thought, and then I'll piggyback on Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like that seems like the real main event to me.
I'll just say this, and I thought the booking of Tony D'Angelo leading up post beating Carmelo and throughout this build for Ilya has just been kind of weird. It feels like he's kind of being a heel, but he's not being a heel. I think
it's comedy.
Oh, it doesn't need to be comedy at this point anymore.
But it is.
It shouldn't need to be comedy anymore.
That's what I've been saying. I love Tony D'Angelo. I was an early adopter, early on the Tony D'Angelo train. It's not a main event gimmick. That's why I've been screaming. It's just not. Yeah. It seems weird that Ilya Dragunov is involved in it, considering how serious of a guy the Ilya Dragunov, his character is.
I'm not disagreeing with. I don't think that.
Fuck you. I'm not meeting you at some secret location.
Okay.
Fuck out of here.
Okay. Completely fair. Completely fair. I will give you that. I just thought that when you got Tony D to this point, it wouldn't be about let's send Stacks in and soften up the hand or whatever the case may be. Let's set up, a secret, dinner, That's going back to his gimmick, which I understand, but I don't think he needs it at this point. This should just be about the NXT title. That's it. Nothing more.
I am looking forward to the pay-per-view, though. It looks like we're going to get Shawn Spears versus Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy, another guy, dude. I mean, at least that's mid-card, though. It is now.
Those guys can both wrestle.
Shawn Spears versus Dijak was better than I anticipated. It was a couple of times I was like, oh, shit, these motherfuckers is getting after it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not going to shit on Shawn Spears.
You know what? We kind of glossed over to jump back to Raw real fast, but Ricochet versus JD McDonough was pretty fucking good, man.
Not sure what they're doing with Ricochet, but I will say that they gave those jokers at least 15 minutes. JD and Ricochet had a really good match on Raw.
Yeah.
It was first time I ever saw a Canadian Destroyer from a wrist lock.
No shit. I was like, God damn. What the fuck is going on?
And they are trying to push the tag team. The War Dogs fought Alpha Academy in what was a fun match, even though Otis and Tozawa aren't actually quite presented as serious wrestlers. They are serious wrestlers, and this was a good match. The War Dogs have incredible chemistry.
But way better than I would have ever thought. I mean, between their interaction outside the ring and what they can do inside the ring, this is a pleasant surprise, to say the least.
LWO and the OC and Axiom and Nathan Frazier all come down, and there was a brawl to end the show. So, is that a fatal four-way? Is that a four-way match?
No, the winner of that triple threat next week gets the Wolf Dogs at Stand and Deliver.
Right. Man from Ringside. Speaking of the War Dogs, good segue. Alex Coughlin retired, unfortunately, because of a neck injury. Thoughts on this, Zach?
Yeah, big bummer. He was shortlisted for promo of the year last year on a promo that probably, I don't know, 20,000 people in the United States saw,
Yeah. And he was also close to winning Promo of the Year for a 2-word promo in which he told Bishamon, "Fuck you."
He was also very dynamic in the ring. He had these really great feats of strength moments that were just really something else from a guy who wasn't like incredibly big. Just a big bummer. Wish him the best, whatever he decides to do after this.
Yeah, he's the type of guy that I would like to see stay in wrestling somehow because he had big personality.
And you can tell he just gets it. I mean, like he put like whenever he put his, he didn't announce his retirement. I think it got leaked, and then I saw his social media post. He's like, "Yeah, that's right, I'm retired." He's like, "So fuck off." He's like, "Well, actually, don't fuck off." He's like, "I've got some merch left. I need you to buy." He's like, true carny. So.
That's great. Alex Coughlin was one of the guys that through the pandemic, I mean, literally through the pandemic, when New Japan Strong was one of the few shows that we could watch on a fairly regular basis, Alex Coughlin was, one of the guys that caught my eye. Was a young lion over in New Japan, then came over to the States and kind of caught my eye here. He, pound for pound, one of the strongest guys that, you could probably see in the ring. It was, he wasn't a big guy, but I mean, he could, lift guys up fairly easily with his strength. So in that scenario, something like that caught my eye. You brought up Bishamon, the fuck you Bishamon. That's always one of my favorites. So yeah, I liked Alex Coughlin. I thought him and Gabe Kidd could have been a really good tag team if they did, stayed together. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Him, Rich Holland, I forgot about his ass. I wasn't sure if that was a work or a shoot on NXT or not, but
that was a work.
I'm assuming so. I'm like, damn,
he sold it.
Okay, I was about to say, you sold it pretty well, because I'm sitting there like, this motherfucker shooting or what? But yeah. Either way, kudos to Alex Coughlin. I hate to see it end this way, because I thought he had a bright future ahead of him, just because, like I said, he didn't look like much, but I mean, he pound for pound one of the strongest guys in wrestling.
Ridge Holland. More broken necks than singles titles.
Baby, you ain't shit. God damn.
I think that was a work. I think he's coming back. It was a really good promo, actually.
It was good enough to where it had me wondering what the fuck was going on.
That's going to do it for odds and ends.
Man from Ringside.
So we got some birthdays this week. So Kurt Hennig, R.I.P., would have been 66. Umaga, so when it was Donald Trump versus Vince McMahon and that hair versus hair, that was Bobby Lashley for
Trump.
Bobby Lashley was for Trump, and Umaga was for Vince McMahon?
Yeah.
Because I noticed when I saw this written out that Umaga is spelled U-MAGA. It's like yeah, that would have been. I wonder if that's where he got it from.
Yeah, weird things have happened.
Anyway, he would have been 51. Warlord.
Is this from Powers of Pain?
Yeah,
Warlord?
I think he's still alive.
I guess.
Mustafa, he's 62. Mustafa Ali is 38.
He'll be at Windy City Riot in a couple weeks.
Michael piece of shit Hayes is 65.
No.
Come on, I can't say that about Michael Hayes. Come on, man.
No, that's just crazy.
He's not a piece of shit.
No, because obviously it's P.S. Hayes. You just threw the O in. It's just like piece of shit.
Michael P.S. Hayes, 65. We hardly knew ye.
Damn, dog, he ain't dead.
Fuck him. Mike Rotunda, a.k.a. IRS. Bray Wyatt's dad. 66.
Shit.
Zach Gowen. You remember Zach Gowen?
Oh, yes. Brock Lesnar just had a field day with his ass for about a month and a half.
41. I hope he's doing all right. Trent Beretta, the aforementioned, is 37. Randy Orton. Didn't talk about him, but some...
No, I talked about him a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So we talked about how we'll probably see Logan Paul this week. Randy Orton is 44. We're in the same class in high school. Scorpio Sky is 41. And what's funny about that?
I always go.
Where did Randy Orton go to high school?
Hazelwood Central's in the house.
I thought he went to Pattonville.
Where? Well, that too.
Yeah, he went to Pattonville and Hazelwood Central.
The reason why I was laughing about Scorpio Sky is because every time I hear his name, I always think about you, and you're like, that's a stripper's name.
It is a fucking stripper's name, dude.
It is a total stripper's name.
You're
Did you go
supposed
to
to.
Hazelwood Central, Jay?
Not every stripper went to Central, motherfucker. Damn.
No, didn't you? Did you go to
Yes.
Central? Yeah.
Gentlemen, please turn your attention to stage 3. We have the voluptuous Scorpio Sky.
And back up off that man, dog. Say, let him live.
Lance Storm, if I can be serious for a minute,
Right.
Is 55 this week.
Rabbit fever.
Hey, everybody, we know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. For Vice,
Check.
who was supposed to show up but never did. We'll see you next week, hopefully. For Tender Mahal,
Check.
Joey O'Farrell, nice job for Wrestling at the Grand. We'll keep an eye out for that on YouTube. And for his next show, for Murray the Murray Man Murray,
Check.
for Lucha Chris, for
Check.
Patriot Pat,
Check.
for Brett Jagger,
Check.
for the whole family, for
Check.
Reba. I missed you all week, Reba.
Check.
For Two Beers, Zach Pullman,
Check.
for Jason Cornelius Bell. I am
Konnichiwa,
Bill
bitches.
Zaggy.
Check.
Black Lives Matter.
Check.
Support your local restaurants.
Check.
Support your local weed
Check.
dealers and boo the heels.
Boo!